Hello, friends, and what a beautiful morning to talk about some team fight tactics. We are a couple days into the B patch, and the meta seems to have stabilized a little bit. I bet it will develop a little bit more, but I want to get you guys up to date on what's going on. If you guys don't know me, I am currently a Grandmaster player right now, which is about top 100 on the North American ladder, and I've been playing a lot of games, so I have a pretty good pulse on what's going on in the meta, and I've been climbing a lot on the B patch. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to go through the data, and I'm going to kind of parse through this data for you because when you look at data and you look at some of the stuff that's recommended on here, it's not necessarily correct. And I want to kind of help navigate you guys through the meta. So let's just do this. So one of the most popular comps right now is Gunnar Sejuani, or not Gunnar Sejuani, it's Gunnar Filius. I don't know why they name it that. Gunnar Jinx. It's really Gunnar Jinx reroll. Gunnar Jace and Jinx reroll is what it is. And this play rate is not super high, actually. I do see it in pretty much every one of my games in high elo right now, and the placement is very good. So the indicator to play this composition is if you have a Gunner +1 or you have a Piltover opener. And that is a very good indicator to play this, or you just start the game with the early Jinx too. I had a wild Placidium Library game. The first game I played of this patch, I played Jinx reroll 6 Challenger because I got 2 Challenger emblems. It was very, very, very strange. And I rerolled my Warwick and just played him as a tank. It was pretty interesting. So the idea with this comp is, you start with either a Gunner +1 or a Piltover opener, or just like good augments in a Jinx angle, and you slow roll on 6 for your Jinx 3-star, or you can push to 7 sometimes and slow roll. I don't know why it recommends Master Yi. I mean, Master Yi is okay. You could play that, but I don't know why anybody would play anything but Ornn right now, if I'm being honest. There is some legend diversity. You can play Ornn, you can play Master Yi, you can play Ezreal, you can play Bard, you can play a couple other things, but honestly, I personally don't know why you want to play anything else but Ornn, and I think Urf is okay as well, but doesn't enable you to play this comp. But anyways, this comp is very good. If you have the angle, just play it. It's very, very, very strong. Robotic Arm is going to be your best thing for Jinx. Other than that, just put whatever else is going to be on there. Sometimes you end up rerolling Echo, and you can have an Echo cash out, but Echo he got nerfed really hard, and they didn't actually fix his rogue bug. So if you end up trying to play rogue, it will kind of bug out sometimes on him. So keep that in mind. And then ideally, you just want to add more frontline or just add more gunners. Just the more gunners, the more better. All right, and next up we have Silco and Tarik. I don't know why it's called. I keep reading the names. I don't know why they call it this, but just the Sorc comp, the vertical Sorc comp, 6 and 8 Sorc. The indicator to play this is a Sorc +1. So if you get a Sorc emblem, Sorc heart, or a Sorc crown, and you start the game with like a Malzahar Void opener or something like that, that is a good indicator to play this comp. This comp is very strong and is pretty stable all the way up until stage 4. You kind of have to hit a big front line on stage 4 and hit your Silco. And then to actually win the game or secure your top 4, you need to hit at least an RE1. So I actually don't really like playing this comp, especially in my ELO. It's very contested most games. So whenever I have the angle to play Sorcs, I usually kind of just play other stuff. I play like the Strategist Azir comp, which is a lot less contested, not as good as it is. And then I have a Mordekaiser comp that I play that I kind of default to, especially with a lot of Sorc openers that I have with some AP item openers or some mana item openers. I default to this Mordekaiser build, and I have a guide on that. That's actually the comp that I used to gain 200 LP yesterday, and it's not actually listed on here because they don't really know how to play Mordekaiser. But hey, check out my guide. I posted it yesterday. I'll have a VOD of my gameplay up today, and my live stream, guys. My entire live stream from yesterday. If you go back to my most recent live stream, I played Mordekaiser all day. So if you guys want to know some build that is not very contested, people don't really know what they're doing, that build is very fun. Okay, we have Chobidem. Chobidem is very good. This is a slow roll on 5 comp. Basically, you just jam as many bruisers as you can, and you can reroll. Your backline can be a Malzahar 3 or a Cassio 3 or both, but you want to get to 6 bruisers, and so after you hit your Cho'Gath 3, maybe hit a Renekton 3. It's not that important to hit a Renekton 3, but it is good. And if you can hit your Malzahar 3, again, you don't have to hit Malzahar or Cassio 3. Really, the most important one is Cho'Gath. Then you want to get 6 bruisers in as quick as possible, and if you don't end up carrying Malzahar, like you don't hit Malzahar or Cassio 3, then you can pivot to better units like Silco and that sort of thing. Silco, Ari, whatever. Don't really worry about playing Kaisa. Kaisa is not very good without vertical challenger. So you can play her as your backline carry if that's what you end up doing, but Void is really not that important. later on into the game. So the indicator to play this is Bruiser +1. Or if you just have a lot of Cho'Gaths early on in the game, you have a Cho'Gath reroll angle. If you like playing Caitlyn and you end up taking Stars Are Born and you buy the Cho'Gath and the Vi, then that can be an angle to play it. A lot of people take Lee Sin and they actually take his silver or gold augment and will reroll this. Milk is a player who plays a lot of 1-cost rerolls. He plays this and he also plays Noxus reroll with Lee Sin. So that is an angle if you guys want to play this. I don't know why it recommends TF. Very strange to me, because your items are actually extremely flexible. On Cho'Gath, you just put Redemption and have a Spark somewhere or some type of Magic Shred somewhere. Doesn't necessarily need to be on your Cho'Gath. Can be on your Nectin. Make sure it's near Cho'Gath. And yeah, you just put Redemption +2. You just want to go tank items. You can also put a Sterex. Is kind of cool. You can do like some AD tech. You can, if you have like Gargantuan, you can do like BT, Titans. It's kind of neat. But yeah, it's just Redemption +2 and you're good to go. Or you can put a Redemption on the unit right next to your Cho'Gath and just go balls to the wall tank items, or put the Spark on him, whatever. But you just want a Redemption and a Spark in your front line. You're good to go. And then you can push levels, get your 6 Bruiser in, and also roll for Rek'Sai as well. And that can be a good thing. Okay, this is Vertical Challengers. And as you can see, this comp placement rate is 4.44, and the play rate, it's actually pretty contested. I really don't like playing this comp, personally. I find that I'm contested far too often. And the best challenger emblem holders are going to be Aatrox, Heimerdinger. Obviously, those are legendaries. But on your way to that, you can carry Azir in your back line, especially if you get extra AP items. I like Azir with challenger emblem. You can also put it onto Mordekaiser with like a QSS, can be very good. And there's a few more options, but those are the ones I really look for there. But yeah, so this is just a 6 or 8 challenger build, and then you get Demacia in with Quinn and Jarvan. The reason why you do Quinn, you can put the emblem on Quinn. That's fine too. The reason why you do Quinn over like Sona is because Sona, you don't need the attack sprint from Sona. Additionally, Aatrox is a Slayer. So if he can eventually get to Aatrox, Aatrox will be very strong. Aatrox is very strong in this meta right now. Very strong on this patch ever since they fixed his revive mechanic. Very, 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 very powerful unit. I love Aatrox. And yeah, so he can actually carry this build. So it has a high cap once you hit the Aatrox with the Challenger emblem. But until you do that, it doesn't feel... Honestly, I think this comp is like a little too contested for how good it is. As far as augments, you want to take things like Gifts from the Fallen and Social Distancing are the best indicators when you're playing Challenger emblem. Like if you have a Challenger +1 and then you get those augments, that's amazing. You can also take some Ornn items in here, like the tank or the like frontline AD items like Death's Dance, stuff like that is really good on Fiora. And then like Mana Zane and stuff like that is good on Kaisa or Deathfire Grass, that sort of thing. So you guys like playing that. Noxus Samira reroll. So I believe this is a level 5 reroll build. I versed Milk playing this. This was very strong. So this is a vertical Noxus build. So basically the indicator to play this is if it looks like you can reroll Samira and Cassio, and then I don't know why it recommends Edge of Night. That's very strange to me. But you can do like blue buff and damage items, or you can do attack speed items. Those are fine. You can put a Last Whisper on her. That's fine. These are weird itemizations. Maybe I'm tripping, but why is there a BT Edge of Night on my Samira? I don't understand. Anyways, you just reroll all the Noxus. And then ideally, if you have a Noxus emblem, you will also play Nefiri because you can get the double Darken later if you can make it to end game and get an Aatrox, you'll be good to go. And you just really just jam as many Noxus as you can and reroll all of them. So it's a Sorrow on 5, and then you usually push levels to 7. If you have an angle to reroll your Darius and that sort of thing, you can. But if you don't have the angle, just keep pushing levels and start jamming some good units like Aatrox and Jarvan. I versed Milk on this patch, and he farmed me with this build. So yeah, it's pretty strong. Next up is Slayer Mordekaiser, and this is not how I recommend to play the comp. So I recommend you guys just watch my Mordekaiser guide video. I will leave it in the end card of today's video and in the pinned comment. Yeah, I can't even talk from this core, but essentially the core that you play is going to be around 3 Demacia, which is going to be these two plus Jarvan. I do not play the version with Fiora and the 5 Demacia stuff. You can. There's an angle there. There's some flexible angles with Slayer +1 and that sort of thing. But the default board is you're going to be playing around 4 Bruiser with Rek'Sai and Freljord, and you're going to play what's her face, Sejuani and Ashe in your backline. I have a very, very detailed guide on this, so just check that out if you guys want to do it. I'm not going to do it in this video. Okay, Bruiser Cho'Gath. This is the Cho'Gath build again. We already basically talked about this. Noxus Mordekaiser. So yeah, I play a lot of Mordekaiser. So if I don't have the Slayer variation, I will sometimes play the Noxus variation. If I have a Noxus +1 or like Total Domination, or if I have a Rogue Emblem, I'll play Rogue Emblem on Mordekaiser. And you can play like 7 Noxus with the Noxus +1. It's very, very, very strong. It is not my preferred version of the build. I prefer my default Slayer build. But again, if I get the Noxus Hearts, I get those things and I'll play this. And I play Ornn whenever I play Mordekaiser. But yeah, you guys can check that out. So Rogue, Kiana, and Echo and Katarina. This rogue build is not nearly as good as it was before. I think the indicators to play reroll rogues right now, there is a Graves variation. You can roll on 5 for the Graves variation if you just have a lot of Graves and play around like Milio 3-star and that sort of thing. That can be okay. But I think the indicator to play this is like Vampiric Blades, or you're like really high rolling rogues and you have like Ice, Ixtal is very, very, very strong in this build. So I think that is the indicator to play that. Other than that, I honestly wouldn't play this build unless I'm just turbo high rolling it. So Bastion of Phelios, this build is actually kind of good. I like it. But the problem is a lot of people are rerolling in this build. Is Bastion of Phelios, if you have a Bastion +1, you have a Morning Lights, you have some good tempo. This comp is pretty good, but it doesn't spike on 7, it spikes on 8. Because you just want to run the 4 Bastion frontline. Obviously, if you have Bastion +1, you can run 6. But you run the Bastion frontline plus Jinx plus Soraka plus Silco. Jinx is a very contested unit, and I actually think Invokers are pretty solid right now. Soraka can be pretty contested, but the problem is you have to like decide: do I play Soraka? Do I play Jinx? Your comp doesn't come online till 8, so I think the tempo of this comp is really weird. But if you're really far ahead, I think this comp is really strong on level 8. As it says, it does recommend fast 8, but that's just not how most games play out. Usually you have to roll on 7, and when you're rolling 7 with this comp and you're playing around Shin, Tarik, Nico, Kassadin is usually your standard frontline. Your backline just isn't as good, and you're not really spiking until 8. That's why I don't really like this comp that much. Okay, Strategist, Azir, and Nasus. This comp is far more contested than it deserves right now. I think this comp is good. I played on my Smurf last night. I have a Smurf account that I play on when I'm really tired. It's Diamond 2 right now, and that's pretty high ELO. That's like top 2,000 right now. And yeah, I played this comp when I first placed. I like to play this comp when I have the angle. Basically, I think Strategist Azir is good to play if you're flexing around playing Sorcs right now, because Sorcs is a very strong build. So if you don't get the Sorc +1, but you have like a Sorc opener, then keep in mind that you may end up playing Strategist Azir. So build like... I've played it a lot. Like I'll start the game with like a Deathfire Grasp, and I'll build blue buff, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to play Silco Sorcs or Silco Strategist Azir. And then I see that I'm contested for Sorcs. I don't have the Sorc +1. Then I move into Strategist Azir. I think it's not as good to like force into this like a lot of people were doing last patch. So I don't think that's quite as good. But augments I like in this is augments that give my team health is pretty good. You need a lot of frontline with this. Ornn items. There's so many good Ornn items like Sniper Focus Azir, Deathfire Grasp here, Monazane here. Any of the tank ones for Nasus is very good. Nasus is a very good unit. Nasus is a very contested unit. This front line is very contested because some of the Jinx players will play around Warwick and that sort of thing. Jarvan is super contested in so many different builds. But yeah. Anyways, I think this build is still worth going for, but not something you like hard force for. What the Forge is very good in this comp. What the Forge is very good in general. So, all right, Invoker, Karma. I think this comp is very good if you have Invoker +1, if you have Loving Invocation, if you have My Rod is pretty good, or Magic Wand. I won't say you have My Rod. And Combat Caster. So I think this is really good when you're high rolling the build. I don't ever force into this. I'm a big Invoker player. I used to play this a lot. Soraka is very strong. You can duo carry Soraka and Karma if you have the angle. Like a lot of times, the only time I end up playing this comp is if I just start the game with a lot of Sorakas, and I'm just getting like Sorakas from augments, like Targon +1 and that sort of thing. And I'll be like, okay, awesome. My Soraka can carry my stage 3. Sometimes I'll roll it down on level 6 to hit my Soraka 3, or I push to level 7. Ideally, you want to get the level 7 and reroll, because hitting your Shin really opens this up, and you can play 6 or 4 Invoker. You can play 6 Invoker just with your Shin and Tarik Galio frontline, and you're just playing Invokers basically. And then, or you can play 4 Bastion as well, 4 Invoker, 4 Bastion. If you end up building mana items like blue buff on Karma, that's actually what I did yesterday. So if you end up getting mana gain items, just play for 4, and that can be fine as well. Additionally, your highest cap is going to be adding Ahri to your build, and Ahri will finish him off for you. So like you want to get a 3-star Karma, maybe get a 3-star Soraka. It's really hard to 3-star Tarik, so probably don't look for it. Galio 3-star does not matter unless you have Winds of War and you're playing around that. And then so ideally you want to get your 3 stars on level 7. These 2 right here. If you can't get Soraka, it's okay. Just get Karma. And then push levels and play Ahri. Ahri is what's going to secure the game for you. Okay, we have Ionia, Xayah, and Nyla. I don't like this build very much. So the indicator to play this is if you have a Ionia +1, or you have the Stolen Vitality with like a Jhin opener is very strong. And so essentially you're just going to play 6 Ionia, 4 Vanquisher. It's pretty simple. So you either need Vanquisher Emblem or Ionia Emblem to have that build. I believe it can stabilize on level 7. You can actually hit 6 Ionia, 4 Vanquisher if you have an emblem. If you don't have an emblem, that board comes online at 8. So it's very good on 7 if you have the emblem. And essentially you're just going to play the 6 best Ionia units. I feel like that's pretty obvious. You actually drop Aurelia. I don't know why it's on here. But you play the 6 Ionia units, and then you play you just play the Vanquishers. So you're going to play Darius, you're going to play Nyla, and then your 2 Vanquishers that are in the Ionia build. It's pretty simple. On your Xayah, you usually want to have a Last Whisper, a +2, like a Deathblade can be good, Guardbreaker can be good, GS can be good. GS is pretty good in this meta right now. But yeah, you usually want a flat AD item. I would not recommend triple frontline damage items. Last Whisper, Guardbreaker, GS. It's probably Last Whisper, GS only because of a lot of the rerolls in the meta. So Last Whisper, GS, and then Deathblade is probably best. And then Nyla, you just want the Ionia Emblem, RFC +1, and you'll be good to go. Okay, this is a Fiora Demacia vertical. I'm not a big fan of this. Again, the way I play around Quinn is I play around vertical Slayers and Mordekaiser. Check out that guide if you want to play it. And then this is Slayer Kaiser. Very close to the build that I play, but not quite. Very close. But again, guys, check it out. Check out on my comp right there. And then Bilgewater is not very strong. The only time I play Bilgewater is if I have Rising Infamy, and then I play Vertical Bilgewater. Other than that, don't play Vertical Bilgewater. But anyways, guys, that is the meta report. Good luck climbing on the patch. And hey, guys, press that subscribe button and check out my streams. Blah.